Well, the All Progressives Congress is set for its national convention on March 27th and 28th in Abuja, a key moment expected to shape the party's leadership and direction ahead of the next electoral cycle. But the build-up has not been without tension, with the dispute over zoning, party positions and strategy, alongside a fresh legal challenge questioning aspects of the congresses. While the party insists it remains united, questions linger about internal cohesion and what this convention truly represents. Well, joining us now is Mary Koko, Assistant Secretary, Media and Publicity Committee of the APC National Convention for 2026. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning, Chamberlain, and thanks for having me.
So the party is ready for these elections,
Absolutely.
in spite of all of the tuggings and concerns raised by some parties, including IPAC.
What is IPAC's issue with us?
Well, not necessarily with you as a party, with the provisions, the guidelines, the Electoral Act. For instance, they speak about the congresses, the the amendment of the electoral law. So they think that the APC might have this unfair advantage. So to most of the parties, he says they just felt this consensus bit, that amendment does not go well for the parties. APC doesn't seem to have a problem with this, do they?
Do you really think that they won't have the same challenge as other political parties? What gets them ahead? I think that...
What gets who ahead, APC or...?
What makes it okay for APC and it's not okay for the other parties? Is it
the APC has a president, the presidential candidate. I mean, is there anybody contesting alongside the president, for instance?
Is there anybody contesting? So the issue of consensus has become a legal issue, right? We have an electoral law that have defined how the models for adoption in these elections. The direct primaries and consensus have been allowed, then indirect primary have been taken out. That is the current law of the nation, assented, passed and assented. Now, why do you think other political parties will have issues with that? That would be to say that there are levels of unpreparedness of these political parties. Any political party that is what is sought should not wait till election season to start preparing for the run for office and all of these congresses. It is something they would have planned ahead of time. So when you are not proactive as a party, these kind of situations can challenge you deeply.
What about those who say, well, it's easy for you to say because you're in the ruling party, you've got resources to mobilize nationwide, and so it will be pretty easy for the ruling party to go ahead and organize all of this?
I really don't think it's really all about resources. Having resources is good, it helps. I would take that in. However, if the APC is also not prepared for these whole processes, and I can speak as even a member of the party now. Some of us, like today, I'm supposed to be in Enugu for the Zonal Congress. I'm not able to be there. But others who are definitely meant to be there, they have no reason to be outside Enugu today because the Zonal Congresses are happening. It's not easy for us too, as a party, but we have to abide by the constitution of the country. To be honest, we were supposed to hold a press briefing today at the level of the Media and Publicity Committee to tell Nigerians and the world how prepared we are to host this 2026 convention. We had things planned, but we didn't. I mean, the Zonal Congress, the chairman of our committee, May Malabuni, His Excellency, had to go to his own zone today. The co-chairman of my own committee, the Honorable Minister for Information, Honorable Idris Malage, is also on his way to his own zone. I should have been in Enugu today to attend the Zonal Congress of the Southeast Zonal Congress. But I have to be here for duty calls, right? So it is not that simple, even for us as members of the APC. We're all having these challenges, but we have to abide by the law.
Does the party have, or what is the party's impression about your membership drive, the name and number registration requirements for verification of your party register? What does the party think about that? Do you have problems with that? In terms of INEC insists, because IPAC was talking about that guideline which INEC wants, where you have to have name, members of your party, that register. What does it mean?
It's a very laudable initiative. You know what? You want to have members of your parties that are real human beings, authenticated by the country's data base. And what that tells you is that you are no longer having an APC or a political party that is registering people and claiming numbers that are neither here nor there. Now you're having real Nigerians coming forward to take membership of this party. I think what we are doing now is we're deepening democracy, building structures and systems that will help our democracy.
Is the party transparent in that regard?
I believe we are transparent, and I'll tell you why. We have just come out of the World Congress, LGA Congress, and state congresses, and I participated fully in those 3 congresses. In my own ward, Ward 1 in Arochukwu local government, I was involved in how the ESCOs were formed. In the past, someone from somewhere would just impose people and you wake up and say, these are your ESCOs. But what they've done now with this, what do you call it? 2 options we have, consensus. We were called by the leader of the party in that state, in my state, the deputy speaker. He says, we have the forms, quite all right, but these forms will be given out to any ward until you go back at the ward level, all the leaders, all the critical stakeholders come together. You all have your factions. We are not interested. Come together and give us a harmonized list of who you want as a people. And no longer one godfather somewhere coming to impose a person on you.
Via consensus.
Via consensus, yes. And the consensus in this time, what they've said to us in this party is that for the consensus, you have, what they are maintaining is the zonal structure is being maintained for this convention. And what that means is that at the zone, if for instance, the office of the woman leader, national woman leader, if it's been zoned to South-South, and South-South has micro-zoned it to, say, Akwa Ibom or Edo State, it is now on Edo State to produce the census. The South will have within, even in having consensus, it does not, the candidate that finally emerges doesn't just emerge by one single act. There are processes. I'll give you an example with the zonal youth leader that will be elected today in my zone. Originally, it was zoned to the Southeast. Then the Southeast leadership will come together and unpack all the positions that were zoned to the region. And they will start distributing it among the states within that region. So zonal youth leader was zoned to my state. National Welfare Secretary is zoned to my state. And there were other positions, right? But what we've done, for you to vie for that office of zonal youth leader that have now been zoned to my state, we have someone who was there is not returning. One, there is age. There's an age you have to be, age of a youth. So the state is coming together to change the person that is there currently. Some other state may say, we want the person there to continue. He has performed well. We want him to continue.
That sounds more like selection rather than
election. It's not selection in a way that when, people will come out to say, I'm interested. I can stand up and say, I will go and buy for myself. I want to be the youth leader, zonal youth leader. I have the right to do that. But when I pick up the form, you know what typically happens? There will now be, how you now do consensus is when negotiations, conversations, discussions will start happening across levels of stakeholders. One from the various wards and local governments where the individuals that are contesting are. Then you start pruning systems. In that system is where you are filtering. And when you start filtering, you want to also put the candidate that must be the youth presented to us is over 50. This is not a youth. And that's why we have the screening committee. We have the appeal committee. So if the person that emerges, you say this is not the person that we want for this position, you can appeal the decision of your state.
Well, somebody is not happy. A certain Dagogo Fubara has gone to court challenging some of these processes.
It is well within his right.
This is not
It is
democracy.
well within his right to challenge
so
anything that he finds undemocratic.
And he's gone to court.
As a Democrat myself, a progressive Democrat, I will support and back anybody who feels an action that has taken place within his own state is undemocratic.
Is the party going to sanction them for going to court?
No. Okay, in my state, we actually have someone who is contesting for the office of the National Secretary, Welfare Secretary right now. We, at the state level, the current, the incumbent, the state has said he has performed very well. And when there's crisis in the state, he stepped in at both he's been a good representative, right? So he was able to be the bridge. And that is what you look for in a person. But what has happened, we also have somebody who believes he can also be that welfare secretary. And he's picked a form. His form, he faced the screening committee 2 days ago, yesterday. He was screened. So he's in the race. So sometimes all of these stories you hear, they are at variance with the actual internal workings within the party.
Is not at variance.
I'm not from that state, so I can't speak about that. I can speak about the one in my state and the ones that I'm familiar to. That I'm telling you that even the welfare secretary office, that even the state has said, we need you to go back. Somebody is contesting, that person has bought a form, and that person has been screened by the party.
Ayo has a few questions for you. Go ahead.
Madam, the question that Chamberlain asked the other time about it being a selection rather than an election, I'd like you to speak a little about it, but here is my context. First of all, clear the air whether or not the APC is adopting consensus selection process throughout for all of their elective posts. If not, which ones are the exception? And if that is the case, that the APC is adopting consensus as its strategy for selecting its candidates for the elections, how do you address the issue of those who claim that some of the consensus candidates have been imposed on them as opposed to something that they all agreed to?
I like the way you framed this question, because in doing consensus, you may have, there's no system that is a perfect system. So I can readily acknowledge the fact that when you do consensus, when you do adopt directories, there will be no matter model choose as a party. So PC for this convention, I'm aware and can say that the party is adopting the consensus for this convention. And that is my response to that direct question. And for the second question about what they are adopting, whether they are adopting consensus for the electoral positions, I do not have answers to that because politics is local. So I believe that at the end of the day, when it comes to issue of elective positions, the person who will emerge are often what you want to make consensus in every space. So there are locations where the state could say, we have this person, and they will allow a free contest for the primaries. And I'm seeing that happening. It will not be a one key fix, unlocking all doors. That's how it is done. But when it comes to the issue of a little bit on our democracy, Nigeria's democracy is evolving. One critical down part of this evolution of our democracy is that women and youths are not fully mainstream. It affects them greatly. So even when you come to the issue of bigger, even in every political party.
Why is the APC not
but
changing?
The APC, that's what I'm saying. The APC is now intentionally mainstreaming women. Even this convention we are coming for now, the party is now constitutional within the party, internal party democracy, that all delegates coming from every state, every local government of the country, 3 delegates per local government. Out of these 3 delegates, 1 must be a woman. And these are ways the party tries to encourage inclusion of women.
Is that in your party
yes,
laws?
Yes, it is APC. It is constitutional within our party. And then, if you look at the constitution composition of this Media and Publicity Committee of this convention, you look at the chairman and all the leadership, there's a woman in the leadership, myself. So they try as much as possible, but are we there yet? No. We still have a lot of unpacking to do. But just to round up his response to Ayo's question, APC, by this convention, we are not just having a convention. We are building structures. We are deepening democracy. And we are, as a party, mainstreaming inclusivity so that at the end of the day, we are able to encourage unity. And that is the watchword for this convention.
Okay.
Unity.
So can anybody watching
stability,
access,
and progress.
Can anybody watching access transparent? Can they access your party register?
Of course.
So it's public. I can go and see members on the register.
Yes.
Where can they get it?
There's a website, I think, for the registration. Then when they opened the portal initially, but if you're having an election, the portal is closed. But once the election is over, the portal is open. But we have finished the e-registration, and what you can find within the e-registration band is that you who are identifiable. So the name is also these people don't have voters in an election, right? So the PBC is also an important tool for us.
I guess it's just a couple of days away, but hopefully we'll see how we can focus on some of these issues. And then the promises the party made that they've not fulfilled, including power, electricity generation. It's a huge failure in that regard. The minister apologized today, saying things are not looking as they ought to be. Maybe he's going to go for your state governorship election, so who knows? I guess time will tell. But we have to thank you and wish your party all the best as you go for your convention coming up in a couple of days. Mary Coco is the Assistant Secretary, Media and Publicity Committee of the APC National Convention for 2026. Thank you for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.